Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first, we just hit 3,260 subscribers to the channel. Shout out to all the subscribers. And, as always, special tip of the cap goes to the channel members, especially elite channel members Brendon, Mikel, Hasher for MVP, VGK Tiger 75, Ryguy, Salacious, Crumb, Brendan Nelson's Haircut, TlVlO, ItsHoof, The Reno, 12th Man, Austin Roberts, Scott Todd, and PH Glass. We've made it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the end. It has been a long process. It has been a time-consuming process. Hasn't always been easy, but we have churned through a lot of draft prospects that I think the Seahawks should put in their targets. And today is the final video, the final 5 draft prospects I will be looking at for the Seahawks. So if you've been here the whole time, if you've watched every video or most of them, you've probably got a pretty good idea of the kinds of players the Seahawks can target. And it's a lot of work for a team that only has 3 selections in this draft, but I still wanted to go ahead and do it. I still wanted to try to get an idea of the lay of the land. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed being along for the ride, but it ends today. We have 5 prospects to go through, and then it is over. So today we're going to take a look at WILL Linebacker, that is weak side linebacker. So yesterday we did Sam, which is strong side. Now we're doing the weak side. Now, whether or not WILL Linebacker is truly a need kind of depends on how you feel about Bobby Wagner and Cody Barton, okay? So as of right now, for 2021, Jordan Brooks is the starting WILL Linebacker, and Cody Barton is backing him up. Now, Jordan Brooks was a first-round pick last year. He played pretty well for a rookie, so he's obviously the guy, and I don't think we have anything to be concerned about there. If something happens, you do have Cody Barton, who is probably good enough to be a backup. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter, and he's running out of time to prove me wrong. But as of right now, for 2021, the position is covered. So this is definitely a candidate to kick down the road and deal with next year. However, Jordan Brooks, is a natural Mike linebacker. He should be playing in the middle. He's playing Will because Bobby's already got the Mike. I fully expect that Brooks will move to middle linebacker when Bobby Wagner leaves. Now, I think Wagner's gone after this season. He's got 2 years left on his deal, but we save like $16, $17 million if he goes next year. So I expect that Bobby will be gone next year and Brooks is going to slide over to Mike, which leaves Cody Barton as the starting Will. Now, I could be wrong about Bobby leaving next year, but that's what I feel like right now. As for Barton, I am not impressed with what I've seen from Barton yet. I'm not completely writing him off, but in all likelihood, we will be needing to get a new WILL linebacker prospect for 2022 and beyond. So this pick, if we choose to make it, if we choose to pick one of these linebackers, will be for 2022 and beyond almost purely. Anybody we draft at this position will probably not see the field in 2021. So I don't know if this should be a high priority for the team, but I think it is something of a priority. So with that in mind, let's start taking a look at prospects. We got 5. All of them should be available outside the top 100. Let's go to prospect number 1. And this is Isaiah McKenzie, I think, of Boston College. Isaiah McDuffie, Boston College. 6'2", 215 pounds, runs a 4.58 40. He's a little small, and he is quite fast, so he's definitely an undersized linebacker, but we have worked with those kinds of linebackers in the past to great success. Bobby Wagner was an undersized linebacker. As for his career, first year didn't really do much of anything, barely played. 2018, he broke out. 85 tackles, 5.5 for loss, 3.5 sacks, 2 pass deflections. 2019 had a shortened season. I think he got hurt. 30 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. 2020, best year yet, 107 tackles, 6.5 for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 interception. His approximate draft value is a little all over the place. Draft Network says 5th round. Pro Football Focus says fifth to sixth round, most likely sixth. Pro Football Network kind of says the same thing. ESPN says fringe seventh rounder, and Walter Football has him going completely undrafted. So, if I had to guess, Isaiah McDuffie's probably about a sixth round pick. I would expect him to be available around there. So, here's what I can say about McDuffie. He started his college career at safety, and you can tell watching him play. He's a solid all around athlete in terms of his quickness and agility. He's very aggressive chasing the ball. I saw some very impressive plays from him where he would just, hang back, try to figure out where the play's going, and then just heat sinking missile his way into a tackle. He's a great tackler in terms of his technique. He does not let a lot of tackles go missing. In terms of his physical traits, he can play in coverage. I saw him actually do some Madden user interceptions last season on his highlight reel for his interception and a couple other plays as well. Those, user lurk interceptions that you always get as a middle linebacker. Um, the red flags with him would be that he didn't really improve after 2018. 2018 was a season where he broke out, and I don't think he got appreciably better as his career went on. Maybe a little bit in 2020, but it almost seems like he peaked in 2018, which is not ideal. He has a lot to learn in terms of the cerebral side of the game. He does guess wrong sometimes when he's trying to shoot a gap, and he struggles to get off blocks sometimes. So there are definitely holes in his game. There are definitely some concerns here. But for a sixth round prospect, this is one of the will linebackers I would consider going after for 2022 and beyond. So that was prospect number one. Let's swing on to prospect number two. And I believe this is Antoine Simmons of South Carolina. I've been looking at a lot of names lately. Let's see if I got this right. No, I'm sorry. This is Ernest Jones of South Carolina. My bad. Wow. Okay, 21 years old, very young, even for a rookie. 6'2", 230 pounds, runs a 4.7340, so good size, passable speed, not bad. 2018, he barely played, had 16 tackles and one forced fumble. 2019, he broke out, 97 tackles, 5.5 for loss, one sack, and two interceptions. 2020, he had 86 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, a sack, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. So pretty good last 2 years for the Gamecocks. ESPN has him as a late-ish fourth round pick. Pro Football Network does as well. Draft Network says fifth round. Pro Football Focus says fifth round. And Walter Football says unranked. I think he's probably going to be about a fifth round pick if I had to guess. He's going to be available around there. So Ernest Jones was the leader of the SC defense in the last 2 seasons, and he's vocal. He is a leader of his teammates. So if you're looking for somebody who can be a leader on the defense, obviously right now we have guys like Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams, but if you want somebody else who has that, I don't know what you would call it, that attribute, that ability, then Ernest Jones might be that guy. He knows how to pursue the ball and take good angles. I saw some impressive plays from him on his highlight reel. He's not a great athlete. His shortcomings come in his athletic profile. And as of right now, he's not very good in coverage. You didn't see a lot of plays from him in coverage. He's mostly somebody who's good against the run, and that's fine, but as a will, you are going to drop back into coverage quite a bit. He has a lot to learn in terms of understanding how to read plays. As of right now, he is, like the last guy we looked at, somebody who will guess wrong sometimes when he's trying to go make a play. So Ernest Jones, interesting prospect. I think he's somebody who will have to develop a little bit, but we have time. We have time for a linebacker to develop if we draft him here, especially if he's a linebacker like this. So Ernest Jones, that is my prospect number two. Now we go to prospect number three. This is Tony Fields the third from West Virginia and Arizona. He split time across those two universities. 3 years at Arizona, most recent year at West Virginia. 6'1", 222 pounds, passable size, and a really nice 40 time for a linebacker, 4.6. He can move. And he has 4 seasons of really good production. Look at this. 2017, 100 tackles, 7.5 for loss, 5 sacks. 2018, 89 tackles, 4.5 for loss, 2 sacks. 2019, 94 tackles, 5 for loss, 1.5 sacks, 1 pick. 2020 last year for West Virginia, 88 tackles, 4 TFLs, 1 sack, 2 pass deflections. Every year he was making big contributions to his defense. Now that production has earned him some respect from the draft rankers. Walter Football thinks he could be a day 2 pick, but anywhere from the 3rd to 5th. And everyone else is pretty solidly convinced he'll be a day 3 pick. Draft Network says 5th round. ESPN says about the 6th, and Pro Football Focus and Pro Football Network say the 7th round. So I think we're probably looking at a guy you can get in the late 6th, if I had to guess. So should be pretty easy to get him. But would you want to? Well, he's patient and athletic enough to make a lot of plays on the ball. He covers a lot of range. He knows how to use his speed well to go sideline to sideline. I saw some highlights of him just chasing plays down across the field. Very impressive stuff. He's got good body control, which allows him to slip past blockers, which is obviously a valuable skill for a linebacker. He's great at reading plays and getting to the ball carrier quickly, and he's great overall against the run. The only red flag I have with Tony Fields II is that length might be a concern for him. He's not very long, doesn't have very long arms, but in terms of being able to chase down ball carriers, he's already got that pretty well on lockdown. Now, if you draft him to be a will linebacker, you will have to teach him a little bit more in coverage, but that's a time commitment that this team can certainly afford to make. So, Tony Fields II, that's my second prospect. Let's go to prospect number 4. This is Garrett Wallow of TCU, the Horned Frogs. Okay, 22 years old, 6'1", 222 pounds, runs a 4.65 40, so pretty decent passable size, pretty decent 40 time as well. Physically, he stacks up pretty good. 2017 barely played. 2018 broke out. 72 tackles, 5.5 for loss, 3 sacks, 2 pass deflections. 2019 he went insane. 2019 he had 125 tackles, 18 for loss. I remember that Jordan Brooks had a ton of tackles for loss his senior year, which was one of the things that got the Seahawks to draft him. 3.5 sacks, 1 interception. I mean, look at all the plays he's making in the backfield. 18 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. And then 2020, 90 tackles, 9 for loss, 2 sacks, 1 pass deflection, 3 forced fumbles. Dude's a playmaker. The dude did all kinds of cool stuff at TCU. This might be my favorite guy I'm talking about in this video. Basically, everybody thinks he's going to go somewhere around the 6th round. Walter Football thinks he could slip to the 7th or UDFA, but probably a 6th round pick here for Garrett Wallow. But I like him a lot. He originally was playing safety before he moved to linebacker after he barely played in 2017. He's great playing in space. He's an excellent blitzer. He amassed, 8.5 sacks over 3 years as a linebacker. So that's really good. He knows how to make plays on the blitz. He's got above average speed, which allows him to chase down ball carriers. He knows how to take the right angles, and he knows how to make plays in the backfield, as is clearly shown in his crazy good stats. His instincts are raw. He does have some stuff to learn there. Sometimes he guesses wrong, but honestly, for the most part, he does a pretty good job guessing right whenever he's trying to make a read on a play and go shoot a gap. He's great in coverage already, which is really nice. He's good in zone coverage and man coverage. He's a good tackler, very effective in run support. So honestly, in terms of the 3 things you have to do as a linebacker, he's got you covered. He can blitz. He's great in run support. He's great in coverage. Like, what else do you want? I know he's not a great athlete, but in terms of a guy who should be pretty good out of the box, this guy should probably be a little higher in the draft process than he is right now. I really like Garrett Wallow. The worst I can say about him is that he sometimes guesses wrong due to his somewhat limited experience at the position, but again, his instincts are still not bad. He will need time to develop just because he doesn't have a ton of experience playing linebacker. He has only played it for 3 years total, but I like Garrett Wallow, and I would be excited to bring him in as a prospect linebacker late in this draft process. So that's number 4. Final player of this video, final player of this series, Antoine Simmons of the Michigan State Spartans. Let's see if I butchered his name. And Jawan Simmons. I'm sorry. Close. 22 years old from Michigan State. 6 feet flat, 217 pounds, 4.840 time. Yeah, okay. So, full disclosure, the dude is not a very physically impressive. Ooh, let me let me adjust that real quick. Physically, it's not there. This ain't it. 6 feet tall, 217 pounds, 4.840. There's a reason why this guy's probably going undrafted. But as far as undrafted prospects go, I'm kind of into it. So let's talk about Antoine Simmons. Had two okay years to start his season, 33 and 32 tackles. Had a pick and two tackles for loss over 2 seasons. Then he broke out in 2019. Excuse me. 90 tackles, 15 tackles for loss. Yow. 3.5 sacks, two forced fumbles. 2020, 75 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 1 sack, two pass deflections. Nobody thinks he's going to go drafted. So this is a true UDFA prospect. If you want him, just wait until UDFA. He will probably be there. What I like about him is he's a great playmaker in the backfield. He shoots gaps really well. He knows how to read the play and just shoot into the backfield to bring down the ball carrier for a loss. He's skilled at moving through traffic and getting off blockers. These are the kinds of skills that you look for in a special teams player. So at worst, Antoine Simmons should be an effective special teams player. He's also got a decent extension and punch power. He knows how to use his punch to push blockers off of him and still go make a play despite getting nominally blocked. The worst I can say about him is he does miss a fair number of tackles and he does take a few bad angles. These are things that I think could come with experience. So let's go ahead and just assume that he will get better if he is allowed to play a little bit more at the linebacker position and we, groom him properly. So I like Antoine Simmons as far as undrafted free agent prospects go. So that's my fifth and final linebacker, and we are done. We are done. I recognize that Will Linebacker is far from the biggest priority this team should have right now, but honestly, I think that it might be a pretty good idea to start thinking about the future of that position. So even if we don't do it in this draft, we should probably do it in the next one. But if we decide to do it this time, these are my guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. We're very close to the draft, guys. Very close to the draft. Everybody buckle up. Hope you guys liked.